It's Saturday morning, October 2nd, 1993, and we're in MacArthur, Ohio for the annual Enduro Riders Association Baby Burr Dual Sport National Trail Ride. Some of the latecomers are still signing up. Outside at the riders meeting, the air is a little bit chilly and there's a light rain that's just started to fall just before dawn. Last minute tech inspection. These bikes have got to be quiet. The Enduro riders provide a gas truck to haul everybody's fuel so that they don't have to make their own arrangements. And you can see the rain's coming down pretty good. And here comes the first group of riders ready for the start. The covered bridge that they traditionally use for the start provides a nice little shelter on a rainy day like today. And here we are in the first wood section. Even though it started raining early this morning, it hasn't rained real hard, and the weather's been dry for quite some time before this weekend. So as you can see on the trails, even though it's raining, it's not very muddy. Since this is only the first weekend in October, you can see the leaves in south central Ohio haven't started to turn yet. This particular trail that we're looking at right now is an easy enduro trail that has been used on Enduro Riders Association enduros in the past. If some of these scenes seem to be dark, that's because it was very dark on this particular day. The clouds were very thick, and back in the woods where you had the additional shelter of the trees, it was dark. Sometimes you can see the headlights shining on the ground. Although you can't see the rain falling, it is raining right now. The riders, though, providing they were dressed warm enough, were having a very pleasant time because the trail at this point was just a little bit tacky. These trails are easy enough that even the biggest dual sport bikes are having a pretty easy time. And here comes one of our cameramen, Carl Sukamel. You can see the jackets are starting to look a little bit wetter, and the course is getting a little bit slicker. The Enduro Riders Association has township maps that date back to the 1940s. And there are many township roads that have not been used for many years and have never been maintained, but they're kept on the books so that they still get tax money to support them. The Enduro Riders locate these roads through the old maps, and these are perfectly legal to ride on because these are technically public roads. Many of the trails on the Baby Burr are these old township roads. You can see the rain's taking its toll on the trail. It's getting just a little bit muddier. Well, looks like this rider's been down once or twice already. You can see the course is getting a little bit muddier, and this is more of an uphill section than what it looks like. And we're coming out to the road. This is a nice place to stop and regroup if you got separated from some of your friends. It's about 11 o'clock now, and we're in another section. This one's got a fairly long hill. It's not really very steep, but remember, it's been raining all morning. These early riders aren't having too much trouble, but they're keeping up a little bit of momentum. This guy is determined to go right up the middle. I was here for over half an hour taking pictures, and believe me, this is the most difficult way to get up this hill. While he's stuck, other people are just motoring right on around. The rain's picking up and it's starting to get muddy out here. Our cameras are getting soaked, so I think we're going to have to call it a day. Sunday morning is just as nice as Saturday was nasty. It's fairly cool, but it's clear, sun's coming up. It's going to be a beautiful day. Here we are at the first big hill on Sunday, and there's a lot of action here. About halfway up, there's an exposed tree root that causes a lot of trouble for riders right there. Of course, some of them can't even get to the tree root. There's somebody detouring around. Remember, the ground was still damp from yesterday, so the leaves were wet and there was a little bit of mud right on the top. But the people who took the alternate route didn't seem to have any trouble cutting through that and getting right on up the hill. Now here's a guy that's got some momentum. He just motors right on up over the top. As usual, this hill is a lot steeper than what it looks like in the video. It seems like videos never really show how steep hills actually are. Oops. Most of these early riders are the ones that like to maintain a brisk pace, and they typically don't have too much trouble with this hill. Of course, when you don't have any momentum, the least little obstacle stops you. Starting to get a little traffic jam here. And watch out. Hey, this is not a contest to see if we can center punch a cameraman. As soon as you get a few people stuck, things start to get a lot more interesting. Oops, there's another rider in the way. I don't know where they came from, but we have a few spectators too. Well, several riders have found the detour now. And they're taking a nice easy route around. Meanwhile, there's a group over here that's pushing and huffing and puffing and struggling here. Well, this is one way to get up the hill and get plenty of exercise. Meanwhile, over at the detour, there are a bunch of people coming through here and motoring right along. And here comes another guy. Look at that nice jump. Puts those other fellows to shame. This guy gets real crossed up and then crashes and hurts his leg. Fortunately, he was okay and got going later. Shortcuts aren't always so short. We've got some real stylists coming up the hill. Look at this guy wheelie under perfect control. And look at this feet up style. Great body English. Look at that. Well, we're up at the top of the hill now. And a lot of people are stopping here to take a break and regroup. Here we have a few riders coming out of that big wood section. A little bit of paved road, give them an opportunity to rest up. Here come Ted and Robin Fischer. We'll see more of them later. Here we have a group of riders. What are they waiting for? Well, they're waiting their turn to go up the big rocky ravine. As usual, the hill doesn't look near as steep as it actually is on video. Let's go on up in the ravine and take a look. You can see on your right hand side, there's a ledge there, and if you can stay on that ledge, you can stay out of the rocks and you can make pretty good time and keep your momentum up. But it's easy to slip off the ledge. So throttle control is really important. Here come Ted and Robin Fischer. And they would have just gone right up there if they hadn't gotten hung up on the foot pegs of this other guy's bike. You'll see Ted and Robin at most dual sport rides, passing solo riders, even in the advanced sections. Let's take a minute and talk to them about the ravine.
I think we just kind of got stuck, and I said I'll just get off and let him go. I mean, it was probably not even a bad section.
Yeah.
It was not a bad section at all.
You're talking about the ravine, or will we pile drive that guy?
No, I'm talking about the ravine. Yeah, no, the rocky section I didn't walk on that.
Just enough
Pushed
to
a
get
little
back.
bit to
Push.
get him going again, but hopped back on, and
Not too much.
off we went.
Watch how Ted handles this Honda XL 650. He's on solid rock here, so he doesn't have much traction, but he just lifts that front end, carries that thing right around. Robin gets right back on. If you've got the power in the suspension, having that extra weight back there can really help with traction. Over near where the gas truck was located, there's a nice creek crossing. After the creek crossing, there's a nice fast trail with a big, long, straight uphill. This is part of an old township road. On around the bend there, the hill continues on a fairly steep grade for a long time. But you can see it's nice and open, and you can move right along. Speaking of moving right along, here's Ted and Robin Fischer. Here come Mark Hyde and Dick Burleson. Sometimes going downhill isn't quite as easy as you might think. All you have to do is have your front wheel hit the wrong side of about 2 or 3 rocks in a row, and you just go right on down.